Yeah.
I've been very lucky.
You're very lucky. She's a very nice person. But I just want to point out that I want to make a point that you are a family person who is going to be working in a basically cradle to grave. Or
Anthony, first of all, I'm going to have nothing but problems at home if I don't mention Logan and Lily.
Logan and Lily, yeah, absolutely.
Who are every bit as wonderful as Joey is.
Absolutely. I haven't got to spend any time with them, so that's fine. To tell you the truth, I really don't know them. But Joe's good. Joe's good. So we'll give a big kudos to Joe. Getting back to the way the court is currently running, you have people on both sides of whatever the issue, or complaint, who are, I mean, obviously these people are going through a hard time. So I would think that with the added judges, that this is going to expedite some of the decisions that we might have.
It may or may not. You see, the problem there is that right now we have a full-time magistrate. We have a judge over the general division, which handles civil and criminal cases along with domestic law. And then we have a judge with a part-time magistrate in probate juvenile. So the net gain in personnel is not going to be present in this. So the personnel who do get elected to this position, and there's one that commences on February 9th, which will be the presiding judge with primary duties over probate and juvenile, and then the February 10th judge, which is the one I'm running for, that commences February 10th, will be predominantly over custody and domestic relations. Now, if those people aren't ready to hit the ground running, there's going to be such a backlog of cases that...
Now, does that make up the bulk of your practice, those kind of cases?
Yes, it has recently. It seems that I've developed a reputation in that area, and I've been very lucky and fortunate that people put their trust in me, and I've been able to represent them. Certainly, they don't have to thank me, they just have to pay me, but at the same time, I'm very grateful for their patronage, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
That's well, I'm happy that any lawyer can make a living.
Keeps them off the street.
Keeps them off the street. Okay, and there, I would suppose that there's an economic element to it too, with trying to adjudicate these whatever questions came before the court.
I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that is something that I've given a great deal of thought to, and I've seen, well, here's the problem. Justice delayed is said to be justice denied, and I have even t-shirts to that effect. The problem with the length of time it takes to adjudicate a divorce, first of all, the impact falls on children of that marriage. Parents, God bless them, they often, the children are so important to them that they can lose their perspective and try to manipulate those children. Even in the best of circumstances, it is a great burden for those children at school and at play that their family is broken. Now, you know, the court can try to repair what's there, but you know, you can't make people stay married, and so the best thing to do is cut and cut clean. So when you do that, you have to do it fairly and entirely, and you have to make a full and complete adjudication of that controversy. One of the other things that I have noticed and been quite distressed by in the delays that have taken place in domestic relations cases is, hey, I've got a family farm. Now, my wife and I have been married 25 years, let's say. We bought that farm together. Somebody is going to get that farm in the divorce, but in the meantime, who's going to make decisions as to how that farm's going to operate? And particularly with the uncertainty of whether I'm even going to be receiving the right to farm that land for the next 25 years and to pass it on to my children.
Right.
That happens with businesses as well. So there is actually a very detrimental impact to the local economy from this delay, in addition to the most important, which is of course the children. And then of course there's the, you know, people going through divorces, they suffer a great deal. People think that, you know, they assume.
And that's both parents.
Yeah.
I mean, because.
Yeah, people who have been very lucky and very happy in their marital lives can sometimes unfairly assume that people who have not been so lucky and have these kinds of stresses in their family are going at it in a cavalier manner, and they're not. They're suffering great depression and psychological debilitation when they're going through a divorce. You have to be considerate of it. First of all, a judge should give a judgment, but not be judgmental. You don't have to be arrogant. You know, some people mistake arrogance for power and pride for.
I've never heard a judge use that. I've never heard a judge say that they shouldn't be arrogant, because almost every judge I've ever met in my past, and I haven't met a lot, you know, certainly not in a bad way. It was always under good circumstances, but they're some of the most arrogant people I know.
Well, can I tell you a secret that attorneys say to one another?
Okay, what is that?
It's an occupational hazard.
Okay. So now, are we going to? I'm trying to find a way to get into this. It's my understanding, I've been told that we have a lot of people in jail in Champaign County.
Yes, well, Champaign County has twice the number of felony indictments or charges made than either Logan or Union counties, which are more populous. I can't explain why, and certainly it's, you know, as I've heard recently on the news, it's above my pay grade kind of thing. Right. But yeah, as a natural result of that, we exceed our limit. We get 50 prisoners at Tri-County, or thereabouts. The other two counties get 50. Now, when we exceed 50, then the Champaign County commissioners have to pony up for the additional.
Right, and I understand that's a huge. It's made a huge impact on their budget.
That's what they say. You know,
if you look at the numbers, it has.
I have to tell you, and I've looked at the numbers. I just want to tell you one thing. I'm running for judge.
Right.
For me, for the county, for my family. I'm not running against anyone, and you know, something a lot of people don't know about me is I actually was once fluent in Russian, and in Russia, when people are walking on the street and somebody spits in public, in Germany they say Gesundheit when you sneeze. In Russia, if you spit in public, they say don't talk politics, comrade. So I'm not a political guy, okay? I want you to know that.
I wasn't going there anyway.
Good.
I was wondering, in what way can the courts, are we going to see a savings, or is this going to be a net cost? I mean, having 2 new judges in the county, is that a good thing or a bad thing as far as money goes?
It's a very good thing with relation to the docket, okay? Let's start there. And the services provided, however, that the services are given. You know, I mean, look, when you elect somebody, they're supposed to be a servant, you know? They're not supposed to be, you know, there shouldn't be no kingdom making from these new positions. And I think we need to avoid that at all costs. You know, these courts have to run economically. The problem here is that, you know, before you even put anybody in jail for failure to pay child support, we've already got the overages, and yet what options do you have if you've got a deadbeat dad who simply time after time tries to dodge his obligations, or women, you know, I mean, there are more women that are deadbeats nowadays, you know, than there used to be. I mean, that's an equal opportunity.
I have seen some studies where it's been a lot more equal than it has been in the past.
The world's changed a lot.
The world's changed a lot, yeah, it has. Very quickly, because we got to go, but I wondered, can you run down some of what are some of the challenges that we have? And real quick, like in 10 seconds, 15 seconds. Can you do that?
Well, first of all, yeah. Clear the docket. I mean, look, when these judges show up on February 9th and 10th, they're going to have to show up with a shovel. You're going to have to be ready to go. Right. You're going to have to be moving through that docket. And the problem with having an inexperienced judge is sometimes if you're losing a case, an attorney will, you know, Dean Smith used to use that 4 corners offense, you know, when keep the score really low. Well, something lawyers do when they're losing a case is they delay and delay and delay. It's a tactic. And there are lots of little tactics like that that you really have to keep your eye on. And if you're not an experienced trial practitioner, you're going to miss it. And then you're going to have your docket suddenly stretching out and stretching out. You're going to have